Good morning, everybody. We'll begin today's session. This is the first question for the day. Here you're given three diagrams which are in sequence. You have to identify which one will be the fourth diagram from the options that is provided. Okay. So let's do this. Here, one very evident thing that is happening is the rotation of the outer figure, this L-shaped figure that is happening. So this is getting rotated this way, 90 degree, anti-clockwise 90 degree. This further gets rotated 90 degree clockwise, anti-clockwise. This also will rotate at 90 degree anti-clockwise. So आपका जो profile होगा after this will actually look something like this. Okay. Obviously, by that, option D galat hai. Option D is wrong. Between A, B, and C, when you compare, what is the difference? One evident difference happens in the cutout, this white cutout that is there. A, it's this edge, B and C, it's this edge, inside edge. Which one should it be? So this cutout is actually this one cutout. ये वाला जो cutout है, white cutout I'm talking about, this white cutout when rotated stays here. फिर again when rotated stays here. फिर again when it will rotate, it will come here. So obviously option A is wrong there. It happens on the inside edge, that's why. Between B and C again, when you compare, this inside black circle is what is different. Now for that circle, we'll try to locate the position, because if I look at this option in the first diagram, this is first, second and third diagram. The first diagram ये यहाँ पे आ रहा है. In the second diagram, this cutout which is there shifts to from this position, it shifts to this position. Okay. That same thing in the third position, from this position, it shifts to this position. So obviously, yahan se, in the fourth, it has to shift on the outside corner, not the inside corner like we see in C. So C is wrong and B is the correct answer. Okay. We'll move to the next one. Which of the options is or are rotations of the given figure? Iska rotation we have to identify. Which of these options is or are the rotation of this figure? One or more option is correct. Okay. So in this case, when you compare the option together, A and B look similar, but there's one difference that is there in A and B in terms of orientation. If you look at the position of this curvature, which is here and here, इसको आप rotate करो तो A वाला इसका opposite version यहाँ पे आएगा, B में उल्टा दिया गया है, which obviously means A या B में से कोई एक सही है. Either of them is right. Now, if I look at the question figure, that part happens here. Of the option figure of both A and B, when I just rotate this figure anti-clockwise 90 degree, I get this kind of an orientation, which is what is seen in A. So A is right. B वाला part भी अगर आपको cross check करना है, तो इसको अगर आप clockwise 90 degree rotate करो, तो इसका orientation ऐसा आएगा, which is opposite to what is there in B. So B is wrong. Okay. Now we'll move to option C. In option C, this part is a little bit weird, because ये वाला जो curvature आपको दिया गया है, वो curvature यहाँ पे हो रहा है. This is a smoother curvature than what is shown in C. So C is wrong. And the last one is D, where this curvature, even this, and the orientation also matches. So D is also correct. A and D. Only two options are correct here. Okay. We'll move to the next one. Consider the following quote by J.C. Kumarappa's an Economy of Permanence. This is a quote. Which of the options is or are implied by the quote? Okay. Let's read the quote. Man comes nearest to his God, the creator, when he utilizes the brain power to marshal mechanical force to serve his purpose. To do so in such a way that will bring blessings and not destruction, he has to follow nature's way to get the best results out. We cannot get the cooperation of nature purely on our terms. We cannot get cooperation of nature purely on our terms. Any attempt to do so will bring violent destruction in its wake. Okay, this is the quote. Which of the option is or are implied by the quote? First option. Utilizing brain power to marshal mechanical force to serve a purpose, if not done properly, can lead to destruction. So this is a combination of the first and the last line. So A is correct. It gets implied straight away. B. Option B, utilizing brain power to marshal mechanical forces to serve our purposes can bring man nearest to God. This is what, again, the first statement itself says. So B sahi hai. With case of option C. While utilizing brain power to marshal mechanical forces to serve our purposes, the best way to proceed is to follow nature's way. This is written or implied in this statement. So C is correct. Dealing with nature, option D, dealing with nature purely on our terms will bring violation. This is also written here in the last statement. So D is correct. So all the options A, B, C, and D, all four are correct here. Okay, we'll move to the next one. When young Musa started selling dosa on a street corner to support his daughter, Lisa's education, his age was 6 times that of Lisa. He started selling dosa for 2 each. He started with 2 each, and then he increased 1 rupee per year, every year. Lisa grew up to be a successful lawyer, and on Musa's 60th birthday, she gifted him with a small shop near the house, and the board of which is seen here. This is the board on which Lisa gifted on Musa's 60th birthday. Musa, 60th birthday, okay? In which year will Lisa celebrate her 60th birthday is what we have to find. Okay? From the board, what is written is Musa's dosa since 1989. 1989 is the year where he started. 1 dosa sells for 32 rupees. Okay? What we also know is when he was young and he started selling dosa, at that point in time, which means in 1989, which is the year where he started, at that point in time, Musa's age was 6 times that of Lisa. This is the first statement that is given. Also, we know he started with 2 rupees. So years passed since 1989 will be 32 minus, because he started with 2 rupees and then every year he's increasing 1 rupee, it will be 32 minus 2 rupees, the initial price, which is 30 years. He started 30 years before, after 1989. So total years passed since 1989 are 30. Also, we know she gifted him this plate on the 60th birthday. Okay. So, age of Musa in 1989 would be his current age 60 minus years that have passed since 1989, which is 30, which is equal to 30 years. So Musa was 30 years old when he started the dosa shop in 1989. Okay. So therefore, in 1989, Lisa's age will be equal to, from equation 1, it will be equal to, L will be equal to Musa upon 6, 30 upon 6, which is 5 years. Okay. So we know in 1989, Lisa was 5 years. Therefore, Lisa's 60th birthday will be in year 1989 minus 5. This will give us her birth year plus 60. So the answer is 2044. 2044 is the correct answer, which is the year in which Lisa will celebrate her 60th birthday. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Which pieces of jigsaw puzzle can be combined to form a square? One or more option is possible. Given here 4 pieces, we have to identify from the combination here, which are the options, which of these pieces, which of these combination will help us form a square. Okay. So first says 1, 2, 3, 4. In case of 1, 2, 3, 4, you have, this is called a negative, and this is a positive. There's a negative. In case of using all of them, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 negatives here. And we have 1, 2, 3 and 3 positive, which don't fit together. So A possible nahi hai. With case of option B, 3, 2, 4, 4. 3 has 2 negatives, 2 has 1 negatives, and 4 has, so 3 negatives plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5 positive, which is again do not match. So B is not possible. Case of option C, it's 1 negative, 1 positive. So it complements each other. So C is possible. Case of option D, it will be, so here it will be 4 negative plus 4 positive. So it's possible. In case of option D, it will be 1 negative here, 2, 3, 3 negative here, and 4, 4 we are using 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 negative plus 4 positive. So even that matches. So D is also correct. So only options C and D are correct here. Okay. We'll move to the next one. After retiring, 8 friends, Balram Bhandari, Das, Munshi, Nadkarni, Parmar, Patel, and Sethuraman purchased a square plot of land. They decided to divide the land into 8 equal plots and a common back garden as shown here. Parmal was allotted plot 1. Balram preferred a house on the west. Patel chose to stay the farthest from Nadkarni. Munshi and Bhandari became neighbors of Nadkarni. Sethuraman became neighbor of Patel. Nadkarni, who hails from northeast, so he chose the plot on the northeast. Which of the option must be true? First, we'll try to organize which plot belongs to whom. All right. We know 2 things. Parmar chose plot 1. Okay, so Parmar will be here. We also know Nadkarni hails from northeast, so he chose the northeast plot. Now this is north, south, west, and east. Okay. Northeast आपका third वाला plot है, so we know this is Nadkarni. Okay. We know this much. Further, what we also know is Balram preferred a house on the west. So Balram will be here. Patel chose to stay the farthest from Nadkarni. Nadkarni's farthest point is here. So this will be Patel. Munshi and Bhandari became neighbor of Nadkarni. So here it can be either 2 or 4. So this can be Munshi or Bhandari. So is case with 4 also. Okay. And Sethuraman became neighbors with Patel. So Sethuraman will be here. The last person missing is Das. Das ka plot ye hoga. Which is logical because 5 number plot is missing here. So option A says Das stays in plot 5, which is true. Here. Munshi could be neighbor of Parmar. Yes. So if we could have got, if we were given another condition, say about Munshi and Bhandari's position, there's one possibility where Munshi can share a wall or be a neighbor of Parmar. So that is true. Could diya hai, so that's why it's true. If it were Munshi is a neighbor of Parmar, it would have been wrong. Okay. Balram and Nadkarni could be neighbors. Balram is here, Nadkarni is here. So no, they cannot be neighbors. Balram shares a wall with Bhandari. Balram shares a wall with Bhandari, which can be here or here, which he does not. So D bhi galat hai. So only option A and B are correct here. Okay. We'll move to the next one. Letters of alphabet of a font are shown below, which is given here. These are the letters of an alphabet. The cyan letter H, this is H, A, and B. This is H, this is A, and this is B. Illustrate how some of them can be folded once to form a new shape. So H wala jo part hai aapka, in actual we write H like this. Once. Okay. When I fold this H along this axis, like how we see here, this axis, like how we see here, ये वाला जो पार्ट है आपका H का, सॉरी, नीचे आ जाएगा ऐसे. ओके. And the other part, ये वाला चला जाएगा, and only this much part will be there. Okay, which is what is seen in the cyan letters. So they can be folded. A वाला vertical axis से straight forward fold हो रहा है, B वाला horizontal axis से हो रहा है. Okay, they can be folded like this, and in some cases rotation can also be performed. Which of the black shapes given in the option, which of these shapes given in the option have been folded once and rotated? Which of these options have been folded once and are rotated? Okay. In this case, option A looks like it is either W or X. X अगर होता, for example, तो आपका ये वाला थोड़ा fat होता ऐसे. When fat like this, it when skewed, compressed like this. So X possible nahi hai. X is wrong. In case of W hota, so W happens like this. Okay. In case of W, when I fold it along this axis, W agar ye hota, so it would have been like this. एक बड़ा होता और एक छोटा होता यहाँ से. So it would have just, the folded letter would look like this, और ये vertical edge होता है यहाँ पे, which is not there here. So option A is wrong. Case of option B is O का rotation. O को आप opposite axis से rotate कर दो, fold कर दो पहले. And then you rotate it anti-clockwise. So you get what is seen in option B. So B is correct. With case of option C, वो U का rotated version है. So U happens like this. Okay, and then when folded, and then you rotate it clockwise. So you get C, which is true. With case of D, it is folded version. How we folded H, N को rotate, N को fold किया गया है. Along this axis and then rotated. So D is correct. So option B, C, and D all are correct here. All three are correct here. Okay, we'll move to the next one. A toy was created using a piece of paper, the two sides of which are shown in the image. When dropped from a height, it spins like a fan. Which of the option depicts the correct pattern formed when it spins? Okay, one or more option is possible here. Here, these are the two sides of a fan. ये fan, paper fan को ऐसे fold करते हैं, and then it can spin basically. So when it is rotated like this, if this happens to be front side 1 and 2, ये उसके पीछे वाला part है. So this will be 2 के पीछे वाला part 2' और ये 1 के पीछे वाला part 1'. Okay. So 1 and 2, this point, they both will come together. जैसे 1 यहाँ पे आया तो ये वाला पार्ट जो है दिस विल बी 2 डैश. ओके, ये अगर 2 हुआ तो दिस विल बी 1 डैश. So when this and this come together, what you will find is you will just have this white cutout in the middle, क्योंकि यहाँ पे वो white cutout overlap हुआ. फिर ये वाला part यहाँ पे आ जाएगा, which means it is filled. फिर ये वाला जो part है वो इसके साथ, ये वाला जो पार्ट है फिर यहाँ पे ओवरलैप हो जाएगा. उसके ऊपर वाला जो पार्ट है वो यहाँ पे फिल हो जाएगा. एंड देन दिस पार्ट विल बी overlapped. This much part will be overlapped. So the kind of circle that will be formed is a small circle in the middle, or in the periphery there will be two rings like this, जिसका ये वाला part इतना wheel का shaded रहेगा. So correct answer will be option B. With case of the other parts where you are taking 2 and 1 dash, this is when 1 and 2 dash come together. When you are taking the other part, other side, 2 and 1 dash, when they come together, at that point in time, again the inner circle will be there. ये वाला circle जो इसके साथ overlap हो रहा है, फिर ये fill हो जाएगा इसके साथ, ये यहाँ पे fill हो जाएगा. उसके ऊपर इतने part में this will be filled here. Then above that this much part will be empty, ये खाली है क्योंकि, and then ये fill हो जाएगा, and then this much part will be overlapped. So यहाँ पे भी there will be a circle ring, a white ring up here, followed by a darker ring, and then followed by an even darker ring. Okay, so ये पूरा आपका shaded रहेगा ऐसे, and then there will be 1 and 2 circles. So correct answer here is option C. You may get confused between A and C. How do you decide? If you look at the position of the circle between them, the white ring happens somewhere in the middle. A में वो थोड़ा off जाता है. From, if I draw a line here, it does not come in the middle. It comes somewhere on the side. Versus when I draw a line here, this is happening exactly in the middle. So A is wrong, D is also wrong. Okay, and B and C are the correct answer. We'll move to the next one. 3 circles of radius 10 centimeters are drawn inside an equilateral triangle as shown here. Area of the red colored region in the figure is how much? We have to find the area of the red colored region. Okay, you're given here this diagram. If I were to draw the lines of the centers of the circle, it would be something like this. And this circle hence formed, it's actually an equilateral triangle. Okay, it's equilateral triangle जिसका ये side 10 है, ये 10 है, ये 10 है, ये 10 होगा, ये 10 होगा, ये why 10? Because radius of the circle is 10. So this much to this much is 10. So ये आपका total dimension, which is the side of the blue triangle, will be 20. This one will also be 20, and this one will also be 20. Also we know that because this is an equilateral triangle, ये वाला जो angle होगा वो same होगा, which is 60, 60 and 60. If I were to, now within the blue triangle, if I were to find the area of the red part, I will have to find the area of the blue triangle first, and then subtract that from the area of the 3 sectors that I find, and then I will get the area of the red part. So first I will find area of equilateral triangle, which is root 3 by 4 a square. Root 3 by a का value आपका a side of the equilateral triangle, which is 20. So this is 20 square. When you solve this comes to somewhere 173.21. Okay. Next we'll find area of 3 sectors. 3 sectors are there, so 3 multiplied by area of one sector is pi r square theta upon 360. 3 into 22 by 7 Our radius is 10, so 10 square. Theta ka value we know 60, 60 upon 360. When you solve this comes to somewhere 157.14. Therefore, area of red part will be equal to area of equilateral triangle minus area of 3 sectors, which is equal to 173.21 minus 157.14. This comes to 16.07 something, which is the correct answer. Okay, in this case, if your answer falls somewhere between 15.9 or 15.8 to 16.2, it's accepted. All right, we'll move to the next one. A smaller square of 5 centimeter is placed inside a bigger square such that all 4 corners of the smaller squares are touching the sides of the bigger square. If the smallest distance between the corners of the 2 squares is 3 centimeter, what is the area of the bigger square in square centimeter that falls outside the smaller one? Okay. Now here, when you just draw the diagram correctly, at that point in time, you'll get the answer straight away without any issues. Okay. Here, this is the bigger square. The smaller square that is placed inside it will be somewhere like this. Okay. What we also know is the smallest distance. The smallest distance between the corners of the 2 squares is 3 centimeters. So this is 3, 3, 3, and 3. We also know ये छोटा वाला square का side is 5. So if this is, when I just look at this triangle that is getting formed, this is a right angle triangle, hypotenuse is 5. One side is 3, the next side will be 4 by Pythagoras theorem. This is 4, तो ये भी 4 होगा because this and this triangles are same. ये वाला triangle भी same है और ये वाला triangle भी same है. So this will be 4 and even this will be 4. तो आपका बड़ा वाला जो square है उसका dimension will be 4 plus 3, 7 units, 7 centimeters. So here there are 2 answers possible. If I were to find if I read the question, what is the area of the bigger square in square centimeter that falls outside the smaller one? If I look at if I read it like it's fine, it's asking me to find the area of the bigger square, then area of big square will be 7 square, which is 49, one answer. This same statement can also be reinterpreted as saying that it is asking me to find the area of the part that gets left behind after we put the small square. So I can also interpret as it's asking me to find the area of this much shaded part, which is there, which is the area of the bigger square outside, left outside the smaller square. So this area left, which is A dash, will be equal to 49, area of the bigger square minus area of the smaller square, which is 25, which is 24. So both the answer 24 and 49 are correct here. Okay. With this, I will end today's session here. Thank you so much for your time.